Hello everyone, I welcome you to today's in-depth analysis session where we discuss all the important topics from the current affairs which have appeared in the Hindu Indian Express newspaper and other relevant magazines. Today we are here to discuss the topics from the section Environment, Geography and Disaster Management which have come in the last week. Without wasting much time, let us see the important topics which we are going to discuss. The topics will be discussed from mains as well as prelims perspective. So there will be few topics which will be very detailed and there will be few topics which will be factual. So the first topic, that is Delhi winters and air pollution. It will be covered from the mains perspective. We will be covering that what makes Delhi so polluted. Are there only the anthropogenic reasons or there are natural geographical factors also which play its role? Second is the Great Nicobar project. This topic will also be dealt from the mains perspective, and along with this, another topic is powering AI data centers. So both of these topics will be dealt from the mains perspective. After that, after first three topics, then the next two topics, that is the GI tag and Chakhao rice variety and the rubber cultivation. They are factual topics, will be dealt mainly from the prelims examinations perspective. Okay, so this is a topic list. Without wasting much time, let us begin with our first topic. This topic has come in the Hindu editorial section in last 2 to 3 days. The topic talks about the air pollution and the winter season in India because there is a close relationship between winters and air pollution. Right? If you look at the context, that's why I have written everyone knows. So those who are living in Delhi NCR region or especially in northern India, the entire northern India, they know the context. We all are feeling the heat of this air pollution in the winter seasons. Okay, so obviously no need to describe the context. If we see the UPSC syllabus, this topic finds its relevance in General Studies paper 3 because it specifically mentions environmental pollution, conservation and degradation. That is why I have taken this topic as a part of GS3, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be asked in General Studies paper 1. It can be asked. Why? Because natural geographical factors are there, but because we are dealing with the entire topic, so that's why I have taken it under as a part of GS3. If you look at this question, which was asked by UPSC in 2015 mains, the question talks about Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata all being the mega cities of India. Still, the problem of air pollution is more serious in Delhi as compared to other cities. Why is that so? If you understand the core, the crux of this question, it is again asking you that despite all these three cities being mega cities and having similar socio-economic indicators, all three are industrial towns, all have high population densities, all have high industrial emissions, vehicular pollution. What makes Delhi more polluted compared to these two cities? That means if anthropogenic reasons are same, so there must be some natural reasons which are making Delhi a different city compared to the other. That is the reason. And this question was asked in General Studies paper 1. That is why I told you. Now, because this question is specifically focusing on natural geographical factors, hence they asked it in GS1. Otherwise, they can ask this question in GS1 also, in GS3 also, because we know that geography environment overlaps. Okay. So to understand this question as well as to understand the broader phenomena of air pollution in Delhi, we need to understand the natural as well as anthropogenic factors. This image shows you the rising AQI levels in last 4 to 5 years, as you can see. And we know that from 2020 it was 153, in 2024 it was 169, the average air quality index of Delhi. And this year we know that again during winter seasons the AQI has broken all the records. Okay, so it doesn't matter that how much you can manipulate the data by revolving the trucks and all those things, but yes, air quality is deteriorating. People living in Delhi NCR region can see it. We are experiencing this smog. We are not able to see the things. Visibility is extremely low. So it doesn't matter that what the AQI machine is telling. We can see, we can observe, we are living creatures, we can observe the things. So yes, it is a problem and it is impacting the human health very much. We will talk about that aspect also. Okay, so now we need to discuss that what are the important factors behind Delhi's air pollution. Okay, So first we need to understand that what is the location of the city of Delhi, because the location is the first important reason. If roughly I draw the North India's map, here we are having Delhi, right? So the first factor which we need to understand is the location of Delhi. Delhi is located far away from the influence of Arabian Sea as well as Bay of Bengal. So Delhi is, that is why Delhi is having the continentality, the continental type of climate. Continentality means all those land masses which are situated away from the maritime influence have continental climate. That means they experiences the extremes of seasons. So Delhi, for example, in this point, in this case, will experience extreme winters as well as extreme summers. Okay, because here, unlike the port cities, the coastal cities, Delhi is not experiencing the sea and land breeze, that is the diurnal change in the direction of the wind. Because in the port cities, for example, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, what happens? Because there is a land breeze and sea breeze. So every day there is a change in direction of the wind. It leads to dispersal of the pollutants. So winds take away the pollutants away from the city because the wind is moving and changing its direction. It is not happening in Delhi because it is away from the maritime influence. That is what we mean by location. That is continentality. Fine. The second important factor which is there in the context of Delhi, and especially in winters, is the temperature inversion. Now we need to understand this thing. So what do we mean by temperature inversion? Temperature inversion basically means like what happens during the normal scenario. Normal scenario, let's say if this is the Earth's surface and if you are moving up, as you move up, the temperature goes down. The temperature goes down with normal lapse rate, NLR, also known as the environmental lapse rate, right? And this is 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. You move 1 kilometer height and then the temperature will go down by 6.5 degrees Celsius. This is a normal lapse rate. Then what happens in temperature inversion? In temperature inversion, what happens? As you move up, the temperature basically increases. That is the exact opposite. Here the temperature was decreasing, here the temperature increases. That means near the Earth's surface, you will be having cold layer, and above the Earth's surface, you will be having warm layer. Is it okay? Now, what does it lead to? We need to understand that temperature inversion basically leads to the atmospheric stability. Now, what do we mean by atmospheric stability? Atmospheric stable conditions means relatively high pressure conditions, anticyclonic conditions, which will discourage the precipitation. So rainfall will not take place. If rainfall is not taking place, that means there will be aridity. If aridity is there, that means what? If precipitation would have been there, the pollutants would have been gone and the environment would have been clean. But now there is no precipitation. Arid nature is there. So that means pollutants will stay because there is nothing to precipitate, right? So now during temperature inversion is also known as what? The negative lapse rate. Okay, because here as you are moving up, the temperature is increasing. It is leading to atmospheric stability. In this, what happens is that the wind subsides. There is a vertical descending of the wind. Okay, so there was a report by CPCB. It said that during summers, the average height of intermixing of air, that is due to convectional currents, is around 1500 meter, which during winters in Delhi, because of temperature inversion and the wind subsides, comes down to 300 meter. Now this means what? This means that the height, that is, if this is the Earth's surface and this is the height where intermixing is taking place. Intermixing means the wind is moving and the pollutants obviously will get dispersed. Now this height has come down near the earth's surface. All the pollutants which are released will be in this particular height, that is 300-meter, which is reduced. So that means now the pollutants will remain closer to the earth's surface. That is what the temperature inversion does. Temperature inversion reduces the intermixing height, the vertical height. Is it fine? The third important factor in this scenario is what? It is north westerly winds. So Delhi during winters, and for that matter the entire northern India during winters, experiences northwesterly winds which are coming from Central Asian region towards Delhi. And if these winds are coming from Central Asian region towards Delhi and towards the northern plains, these winds are passing through Central Asian deserts, then they are passing through Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, then entering into India. So these winds also bring a lot of dust particles with them, which lead to increased pollution in this area. Is it fine? So northwesterly winds is also another factor. Okay. Next, after it comes the other points. The next important point responsible for the Delhi's air pollution when it comes to the natural geographical factors is the low-lying basin topography. Okay. So there was a report by IITM which in 2022, and the report came out with a very important factor. It said that this entire Gangetic plain is having a low-lying basin topography. Okay, so it is like this. So all the pollutants which are released, they get entrapped because of this low-lying basin topography. And also we know that the north of this low-lying basin topography is what? Himalayas. So whatever pollutants are there, they get trapped between the Himalayas and this low-lying basin topography, which again is an important factor for higher air pollution in Delhi. Right? The next factor along with this is what? It is the low wind speed. Now, as we have discussed that during winters, the continentality is there, temperature inversion is there, atmospheric stability is there. So obviously the winds are very feeble, and data suggests that the wind speed are as low as less than 5 kilometers per hour. So if the wind speed is as low as 5 kilometers per hour, then obviously pollutant dispersal will not take place. So what happens is that the emissions which are released into the atmosphere, the pollutants which are released into the atmosphere, they get entrapped over this region for a very long period of time because of the natural factors. But along with these natural factors, there are other anthropogenic factors also. So we need to talk about anthropogenic factors. For example, the first factor is stubble burning. Every year we come across a lot of articles which talk about the stubble burning and issues related to it. Stubble burning is basically burning of the paddy stubbles to clear the agricultural fields as fast as possible. And when it comes in the context of Delhi, so stubble burning is very much prevalent in the Punjab and Haryana area. Now this also makes Delhi more vulnerable to air pollution compared to Mumbai and Kolkata, because Delhi is a city surrounded by agricultural area, which is not the case with Mumbai and Kolkata. Right? So in Punjab and Haryana, stubble burning takes place. There was a report by Suffer. Okay, so Suffer report claims that every year, on an average, because of this stubble burning, there is an increase of 30 to 40% of the particulate matter 2.5, PM 2.5. So it increases, right? But what we need to understand is that this year there were Punjab floods because of which the agricultural fields got destroyed, and there were very less incidences of stubble burning. Still, Delhi has experienced one of the worst air pollution. So now we need to quantify that how much is the real contribution of stubble burning. It is not the only factor, we need to understand this. Yes, but it is an important factor. It is one of the many factors, that is true. After stubble burning, the another important aspect is what? The vehicular pollution. When it comes to the vehicular emissions, the report suggests that Delhi is having the second highest vehicle density, that is number of vehicles present per unit household or per unit person. Okay, according to report by CPCB and Terry in 2022, it said that because that vehicular emission is responsible for around 40%, again 40% of the particulate matter pollution. Okay, along with this, the next important factor is biomass burning, which contributes around 7 to 9% of the air pollution. And after biomass burning, the another important factor is the industrial emission and governance gaps, right? Pretty obvious. We all know the anthropogenic reasons, so these are pretty obvious. These datas are important. Why? Because these datas give you the specific points to substantiate your argument, so it can help you in setting a better impression on the examiner while writing the mains answer. Okay, that is the role of data, because with data only you can substantiate. If you are saying that this is happening, why will anyone believe? And data should be from the authentic source only, CPCB, IMD and all those things. Recently, we all know, to tackle air pollution, we were trying cloud seeding, but the rain didn't come. And this was despite the IMD has already said that because the Delhi will be experiencing a very dry weather during this season, so there is a very less possibility of rainfall. Still, IIT Kanpur tried and conducted it. That's fine. That is a part of research. But we need to understand that why Delhi is so dry during winter, because of this continentality. Cloud seeding can take place only when there is a cloud. Only then you can seed it. But because of continentality, there are no clouds in Delhi. So that is the reason we need to understand. So natural factors combined with anthropogenic factors make Delhi so much polluted during the winter seasons. Is it fine to everyone? Okay, let us move ahead. What are the impacts of this air pollution on human health? You can see this diagram and you can see that almost every part of the human body is impacted by it. Skins are impacted, lungs are impacted, lung diseases, asthma, lung cancer, pneumonia, lung development. Then insulin resistance, diabetes, blood clots. After that, strokes, brain development, mental health, dementia, heart related diseases, premature birth, low birth weight, sperm quality deteriorates, illness during pregnancy. All the factors, all the human health indicators are impacted by the air pollution. That is the reason that 3 4 days back, the very renowned pulmonologist said that if you people can afford, you should leave Delhi for around 2 months. So the point is that it is not only about affordability. Many people can afford to do that. Most of the people cannot afford even in economic sense. But majority, a lot of people in economically they can afford. But how will they go on vacation for 2 months? Will their office allow? Right? So it is not just about economic affordability, it is also about the social affordability. So yeah, true, those who can go, they can go, but how many people can go? It's not that easy. But the idea crux is what, that yes, it impacts the human health at the worst levels which we can think of. Now this chart basically talks about the initiatives which are taken by the government in respective years with the targets and scope and the present and the key features and the present status. So this is given to you in a column format, again just the factual details. Okay, so I will be uploading a link of the PPT. You can get that PPT from there, and you can also get the PPT from our Telegram channel. So the link of that Telegram channel will also be provided to you in the description box. You people can join it and you can get the notes from there. For example, in 2009, the initiative started with National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Then came National Air Quality Index. Then came GRAP, Graded Response Action Plan, and that is specifically for the Delhi NCR region. So it is a graded response action plan. Depending on the pollution levels, it will be a graded response by the government, and there will be few limitations. The few activities will not be allowed. For example, just few days back, I came to know that when you send your car for the servicing, so they do the service, but they don't do the washing of the car. They will clean the car, but that will be a dry cleaning. Washing is not allowed. Why it is not allowed? Because it is also prohibited under GRAP. I didn't know this. I just came to know when I sent my car and they didn't wash it. Okay, so there are restrictions on a lot of activities. Then National Clean Air Program, NCAP, a question has already been asked in UPSC on this. Then BS6 emission standards, BS4 are not allowed during these months in Delhi NCR region, so that is also true. So similarly, NCAP for 130 city specific plans. So a lot of plans are started, but we all know that how much these plans are working and what is the situation on ground. Okay, so you just have to memorize few things to write in your answers. Okay, just a factual detail. So that is the thing, that is all. In this topic, what we have learned is that what are the natural reasons which lead to higher pollution in Delhi, and they aggravate, basically the natural reasons aggravate the anthropogenic reasons. Okay, after that we saw the human health and the steps which are taken and their present status. Now let us move to the next topic. The next topic is in relation to the Great Nicobar project. Okay. Now this topic has an immediate context that a tribal council has submitted a complaint to Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs that while implementing this Great Nicobar project, a lot of provisions of the Forest Rights Act have not been properly followed. They have been bypassed. Forest Right Acts give rights to the forest people and forest dwellers that whenever some developmental project takes place, so there are restrictions, their consent is mandatory, and then rehabilitation, there is a proper SOP. So a lot of things have not been followed, and according to this council, the forest dwellers are denied of their forest rights, of the rights mentioned in the Forest Rights Act. So in this context, it has come. So that is why I have kept this in GS paper 1 as well as GS paper 3. I am going to cover this in this context. It has another dimension also which can come in GS paper 2 of social justice, that is tribal people. But here in this session, I am going to cover this topic as a project. So we will analyze this Great Nicobar project, hence GS 1 and 3. If we see the 2016 question, so try to understand the tone of the question. The question is saying, rehabilitation of the human settlements is one of the important environmental impacts which always attracts a controversy while planning a major project. The same thing is happening in the Great Nicobar project also, and same thing happens with almost every project, especially when that project is located in the forest areas or in the ecologically fragile areas housing the tribal communities, right? So in this sense, we need to understand this particular aspect. Closely look at this diagram. Okay, so here you can see there is a national park which is mentioned, Galathea National Park. This diagram, this picture tells you about the area which is being declared as a Great Nicobar project area. That which is that area exactly? Okay, the most important, one of the most important controversies is related to ecology. We know that Andaman and Nicobar Islands obviously are one of the hotspot areas. They have a huge ecological diversity as well as they are one of the most ecologically fragile areas. So when you see this red portion is marked as the project area where this project is going to be implemented. But this project area is overlapping with some areas of this biosphere reserves and some areas of this Galathea National Park. And hence one of the reasons for the controversy. This red portion is magnified here. Okay, so this will be the project area. And this is the region. Here you can see in this portion, in this complete red area, this portion is having the International Container Transshipment Terminal. That is, an integrated port facility will be developed at this location. Which means the Great Nicobar project is based on an underlying philosophy of port-led development. In this image, you can see the integrated port. It is a large-scale investment and a large-scale development. But what do we mean by port-led development? For example, many of you might have heard about a project named Sagarmala. So Sagarmala project is also a port-led development. What do we understand by this? Basically, as the name is suggesting, port-led development, development which is led by the ports. So the seaports will be the main anchors of the development. Everything which will be planned around those seaports. So in this Great Nicobar project, for example, the seaports will be made, and this will be the area which will serve as the residential hub, will also serve as logistics hub, will also serve as economic hub, will also serve as the export oriented hubs. Okay, so that is why we are calling it as the integrated developmental project. Fine. Now this port-led development, that is why also talks about what? It also talks about the coastal economic zones, port modernization, and inland linkages. And that is the reason why we are going for it. The port-led development are known to create multiplier effect. You develop a port, you not only develop the port, you develop coastal communities also, you develop coastal economic zones, you develop manufacturing zones. The ports will not only connect you directly with the other ports of the world. That is true, it will. But not just this, they also develop the inland communication networks. You will be needing rail lines which will be connected to the ports. You will be needing road lines, industrial corridors, economic corridors. Everything is planned integratedly. That is why when you go for the port in development, you connect the port with the external world. You also connect the port with the inland commutation networks. That is the reason that why we follow port-led development, and Great Nicobar project is one of the examples of such philosophy. Now we need to understand few important aspects related to the Great Nicobar project. First, we will understand what are the important characteristics of this. What are the important characteristics? The first important thing is it is a multi-crores investment. Approximately 72,000 crore of investment is planned. Second thing, the Great Nicobar project will house a lot of things. It will house one international integrated terminal. Along with this, there will be airport. This airport will serve both the purposes, that is civilian as well as military purpose. Along with this airport, there will be logistics, multimodal logistics hub, plus residential hub, plus export oriented hubs, right? So this is not just about the port, it is way more than port. Then it will also have a township, fully integrated township. If you want to buy a piece of land, try to get it, settle there, post retirement, long term plans. So yes, there will be a township. There is a large integrated gas and solar plant, and many more infrastructure projects are planned under this one thing. Okay, this, the implementing agency of this project is what? It is Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Developmental Corporation. Okay, so this is the implementing agency. These are the important features of this project. The second is that what are the merits of this project? As you can see from this basic discussion, so obviously the merits will span across the infrastructural development, obviously because a large scale infrastructure development is taking place. Along with the infrastructure development, there will be a economic boost in the region. Along with this, there will be employment creation. The third important thing is what? It is strategic advantage. This is very important. Why this is very important? Because of the strategic location of this particular area. If let's say I draw small map, a rough map. Okay, so this is the Indian Ocean region. Here you are having Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now see the location. If in the context of maritime trade routes, so for example, crude oil. So crude oil is being exported from this West Asian region to India like this, and from China like this. The most of the maritime trade in this region, that is Indian Ocean region, connecting the Pacific region, takes place through Strait of Malacca as well as Sunda Strait. These two straits. Now these two straits are, that is why also known as what? They are also known as choke points, right? So this narrow passage is so much critically important for not just for India, for China and for all the countries. So hence, if India is having a strong hold over this Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean region, it will be of huge strategic advantage, strategic merit for India. And as we already know that the airport will be having civil as well as military usage, we also know that Andaman and Nicobar Islands is the only place in India which is having the Tri Services Command. We know that our navy is dominant in this region. So, in given this backdrop, it becomes very strategically advantage project because of this location. So, these are the important merits of Great Nicobar project. That is obvious. That is obvious. But then the other thing is what? The other issues are related to, the main thing is criticisms. That what are the criticisms or controversies related to it? The first and the foremost is the ecologically sensitive area. Ecologically sensitive area. As we saw in the diagram in the previous slide about the Galathea Bay National Park. Now that Galathea is very famous for few important species. For example, the leatherback turtle. Leatherback turtle is a Schedule 1 species. So as we have seen that Galathea National Park is being impacted, so obviously there might be disastrous impacts on this species. Not just this, we already know that this region is one of the biodiversity hotspots. It is ecologically fragile area, that we understand. The second important criticism related to this is the involved legal issues, which was the immediate context of this, the topic discussion which we have, the context of this topic which we said that FRA is being violated. So it is not just about the FRA. Lot of activists have said that a lot of important provisions of Forest Rights Act, Wildlife Protection Act, Forest Conservation Act have been ignored. The social environmental impact assessments have not been carried out properly, and the implementation of project is undergoing. So these legal issues exist. After that, the third issue is related to the ancestral lands of the tribal people. Who will be protecting that land, because they will be forced to migrate? There are chances. Next issue is related to the health impacts of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, that is PVTGs. For example, this area houses a very important tribal group, that is Shompeens. Nicobaris, these are PVTGs. Now, if you do not know, just read about it or just see some images if they are available. You will see that these tribal people are still living in Stone Age. They are isolated from rest of the world and they know nothing. Okay. They are so isolated that they don't have even developed the natural immunity against common cold, malaria and such type of diseases. The cold which is common for us is not common for them. And there have been instances when The road connectivity was ensured, and that is how the disease spreaded in that area, which was a common disease for normal people, but it led to deaths in these tribal group because they are not having immunity. So when this isolated tribal group will be coming in contact with the other people because of the development of this project, so there are chances we might lose them, right? Then the next important criticism is related to the disaster vulnerability. Now, this region we all know is tectonically unstable area. So this region experiences tsunami, experiences earthquake. Some portions also experience volcanoes. This region also experiences coastal flooding and rising sea levels, ocean acidification because of the climate change. This region also experiences tropical cyclones which develop in the Bay of Bengal region, and sometimes the offshoots of the Pacific cyclones also hit this area, the coastal areas. So that is the disaster vulnerability of this region, right? So in this sense, we need to understand this project holistically, that what are the characteristics, what are the merits, and what are the issues or criticisms involved. But along with this, once we are done with the criticisms, the another important aspect as is what will be a way ahead, what can be right in the answer once we have explained the criticism. So obviously someone can ask what should be done. It can be asked to you in the interview question. Everyone can tell the criticisms, but to find the solution is your job. So what can we do? First is we should go for the phased development. What do we mean by phased development? We should start with those projects which have the least socio-environmental impact, so as to gradually assess the real impact and then going for the further development. So there should be phased development. Second important thing is that there should be proper disaster risk vulnerability assessment. When we are saying that we are following the principle of Sendai framework, Sendai framework tells what? Sendai framework is based on disaster risk reduction. So first we need to assess the risk vulnerability of that area, right? Then legal compliances must be ensured. We must protect the rights of the forest dwellers living in that area, because if we are not able to do it, so we can never convince. We need to cooperate with the local people, we have to cooperate with the tribal councils, otherwise the things cannot work. And similarly, we should go for the green port technology. Green port technology basically means using that material which is relatively more environment friendly. Okay. So instead of concrete, we can use some other material. We can recycle the waste. We can use the plastic waste. We can use the waste rubber to make the roads and to make the materials, so that the environmental sound practices can take place. We can go for the natural bridge construction wherever it is required. So the port green technologies can be used. So this is all about this particular topic. I hope that you have understood all the important dimensions of this. Basically, this project is revolving around the port-led development principle. Okay. Moving towards the next topic. The topic, as you can read, is what will power the AI data centers. Now, again, this topic requires a little bit of analysis. We all are living in the ages of technology. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस हो रहा है, इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स हो रहा है, रोबोटिक्स हो रहा है, इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन 4.0 शुरू हो चुका है. दिस फोन, दिस स्क्रीन, दिस इलेक्ट्रिक पेन, दिस माइक, we are surrounded with technology. Whatever we are writing, whatever we are speaking, whatever we are reading, we are generating data, and that data has to be stored. And that the places where this data is stored are known as data centers. And now, because AI is also coming and it is the next revolution, in this sense we all understand the merits of it. But this article is not about the merit. The article is what will power the AI data centers. That means how are we going to supply the electricity which gives us a feeling that AI data centers will be very much energy intensive. So this is the overview, the background of this topic, in which we are going to discuss this particular aspect. To understand this, first we need to draw a comparison. The comparison is, we will look that what is the present electricity demand of India. Reports suggest that in last one decade, starting from 2015, 2020, 2025, the demand growth rates have been relatively stagnant, that is 5%. Now here I am not talking about the absolute demand is continuously increasing. I am talking about the demand growth rates. The growth rate is 5%, that is stagnant for last 10 years. Absolute demand, obviously it is increasing, we know that the population is rising, economic growth is taking place, fine. Demand growth rate has been relatively stagnant. This is the situation, right? Now there comes an important report by a company named Goldman Sachs. Everyone knows that company. So Goldman Sachs says, with the coming of AI based data centers, the electricity demand in India can increase by 165%. Now just compare this data with this. This is one way to understand that how much energy intensive it can be, right? And then the report also says that why we are saying that it will increase by 165%, because now there is going to be the new drivers. The new drivers are what? The new drivers of this is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, rollout of 5G programs, right? Then we have a lot of government policies also, which we will talk, like that digital divide, data localization policies, and all those things. These are the new key drivers of this electricity demand. Okay, we are going with 5G, we are going with green hydrogen program, and all those things. Okay, but then there comes another report. The other report is from the IEA. Now this is also another perspective to understand the energy thirst of these AI data centers. IEA says that one full-fledged data center consumes electricity equal to the electricity consumed by 1 lakh households. So the average electricity consumption of 1 lakh households equals to the electricity consumption by just one data center, full-fledged. Along with this, it will also consume billions of gallons of water to cool down the hardware which will be located in data localization centers. So, are you understanding the quantum of the energy and water intensive nature of these AI data centers? We need to understand this. Now, given the backdrop of this discussion, we should take another component also into account to analyze this whole issue. The another component is the exploding demand for data centers. That why we are seeing that in India, the demand is going to increase. What are the reasons? First, if we see some of the recent government policies, we know that government is going for policies like Digital India. Government is going for data localization. We all know that nowadays consumers are having raised awareness about their privacy, because of which the government is saying that we need to localize our data. Why are we exporting our data to foreign countries? We need to keep our data within our country. So to keep the data within our country, you need data localization center. So you have to localize, you have to build the data center, right? So when you see the recent government policies, yes, obviously we are going to experience the high demand. Second thing is obviously the population angle in India. It is estimated that the number of internet users in India, just one country, are more than twice the Europe, entire Europe, all the countries combined. So one country versus all the countries of Europe, and that too leading by more than 2 times. So this is a factor. Along with this population, the third important factor is the future potential. So if we talk about the future potential, again there are few reports which say that by 2027 there will be 2 to 3 times more data center in India, which can rise to 5 times by 2030. So this is also an issue. If we understand these multiple issues, the thing is that how do we power it? That was the main theme of this topic. So this article was published in the Hindu newspaper 2 3 days back. They said there are two ways. Some of the large corporates are trying to power these data centers with the help of renewable energy resources, renewables. So we know, given the natural condition of India, the two most important renewable energy resources are what? One is solar, second is wind. Along with this, we can also go for hydro sources. That is true. We can go for it. The second important source of power can be the nuclear energy. Now, this is very important. And in this nuclear energy also, the article specifically mentioned about the SMRs, that is small modular reactors. Why? Because these small modular reactors have certain advantage, have some merits. The first important merit is what? These are highly flexible in nature. Highly flexible in nature. So high flexibility of these small modular reactor means that they can be installed to supply just 1 megawatt of electricity also, and can go up to 300 megawatt of electricity also. So they are highly flexible. One. Second, they are highly local in nature. What do we mean by this? They are established near to the data centers. If they are established near the data centers, that means the transmission distance is less. That means the transmission losses will be very less. That is how we can curb the losses during transmission, because they are local in nature, right? Along with this, the next important is that they have low carbon base. Their carbon footprint is less. And along with this, the another important thing is the with time the technology has evolved. So eventually, gradually, now we are having better safety mechanisms, because whenever we talk about the nuclear energy, the biggest problem which we face is the disposal of the radioactive waste. Okay, so with times the technologies have improved, so now the scenario has changed. It is not same as it was 15 to 20 years back. So these are some of the merits which favor the small modular reactors in order to supply the power to this, to the data centers. And just because of this, in this context, nuclear energy, government has recently come up with the nuclear energy mission. I'm writing it here. Okay. Nuclear energy mission. The government has aimed. What is the nuclear energy mission? So there are two important targets which the government has set. The first important target is 100 gigawatt of capacity by 2047. 100 gigawatt by 2047. And the second important target of this is we will develop 5 indigenous small modular reactors. So this is one of the policy initiatives taken by India. Similarly, second, the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC, is developing indigenized heavy water pressure reactor. Right? It is also developing it. The third important thing is we need to bring in the private investment in this sector. So government is thinking to amend few laws. For example, it is thinking to amend the Civil Nuclear Liability Act. It has to be amended. Then Atomic Energy Act has to be amended. in order to attract the private investment in this sector. So this is all about the data centers, that how are we going to power our data centers. It is not just we are using the AI. We need to be conscious, we need to plan for it, right? Moving to the next topic. The next topic is mainly from the prelims perspective, and the topic is related to a specific variety of rice, that is Chakhao. Now, Chakhao rice is a specific variety from Manipur. So you can see the immediate context. Manipur is going to export a new variety of Chakhao rice to Japan. I have taken a reference question of 2015 which has been asked in relation to some of the products like Tirupati Laddu, Rajasthani Dal Bati Churma and Banaras brocades and saris. Which of these have been accorded as a GI status, that is geographical indicators, right? Why? Because in this topic we will be discussing Chakhao rice also, and then we will be discussing the other important GI tags and also the concept related to GI, that what do you mean by GI. Okay, this picture shows you the Chakhao rice. This is how it is. From the image you can see, if you have to talk about the important features or characteristics of this rice variety, obviously it has black color. This again, this is a factual knowledge. In prelims a lot of facts come. Okay, so there is no concept in it, so I am telling you, you just have to memorize the facts. Black in color, it has aroma. We are discussing the features of this rice. It is sticky. It has a very long cooking time, which goes up to around 40 to 50, which can go up to 40 to 50 minutes. These are the important characteristics. Then it also has a high nutritional value. From Chakhao rice, a Chakhao kheer is also made during the festive seasons in Manipur, and that Chakhao kheer also has traditional medicinal value. So it has a lot of medicinal values also, right? These are the important key features of the Chakhao rice of Manipur. Along with this, there are other states also which have some important rice varieties. For example, when you talk about Uttar Pradesh, so Uttar Pradesh has an important variety, Kala Namak, and this is also known as Buddha rice. Again, an important fact. So remember this fact. This Buddha rice also has a high nutritional value. Okay. Similarly, when you go to Odisha, Odisha also has an important rice with similar value, similar features, the high nutritional value and black color, which is named as Kala Jeera rice. Kala Jeera. And this Kala Jeera rice is also known as Prince of Rice. Next state is Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh also has a similar named rice. The name is Jeera Phool. Okay. So these are some black rice varieties having high nutritional values and medicinal qualities which are found in different states. But the question is, what do we mean by GI tag? What do you mean by GI tag? Not the full form, not the geographical indication. What do you mean by it? So basically GI tag is form of intellectual property right. It is a form of IPR. Okay. This IPR is given to a product which belongs to a particular geographical area. For example, Darjeeling tea. The tea which is grown in Darjeeling is given GI. Now that tea varieties cannot be sold in any other place of India by the name Darjeeling tea. No other tea can be sold. Darjeeling tea can be sold, but no other tea variety can be sold by the name of Darjeeling tea, because the GI tag has been accorded to that tea which is grown in Darjeeling only. It has some important qualities and unique characteristics. So the tag is awarded to a product which belongs to a particular geographical area. The product can be natural, The product can be some agricultural crop. The product can be manufactured also. That is the man-made products. For example, locks of Aligarh, pethas of Agra. Okay, so products can be any, but yes, this is a form of intellectual property right, and they originate from a definite geographical territory. The GI tag is accorded under Geographical Indicators of Good and Registration and Protection Act 1999, and this tag is awarded by Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Again, an important fact for prelims: commerce and industry. This awards it. And but interesting fact is what? Interesting fact is the GI tag is not awarded as IPR, intellectual property. It is not awarded to a trader. It is awarded to a region from where this product is being made. So it is awarded to a region. Post awarding it, there might be traders or associations which can apply for it and get the license to trade in this product. That's a different thing. So that means this IPR, unlike others, is not individualized in nature. The traders can get the license. That's a different thing. Okay. But this IPR is awarded to a region. I hope this is clear to you. So these are few things, and the time period once it is awarded, so it can last up to 10 years, but after 10 years you can reapply, you can apply for the renewal of this GI tag. So that's fine. But in one cycle it is applicable for 10 years. Okay. So these are the important key facts which I wanted to discuss in this particular topic. Let's move ahead. Yeah. This is the last topic which we are going to discuss. The topic is in relation to the rubber cultivation. The immediate context is related to Kerala and the increase in the support price, which is not very much important from UPSC's perspective. Okay. But what is more important is the growing conditions of rubber cultivation. So first of all, the first important thing is what? Temperature. So when we talk about temperature, it should be more than 25 degrees Celsius. More ideally, the ideal suited temperature is 27 to 35 degrees Celsius. That is why if the season is having a lot of frost, it is extremely unhealthy for the rubber. Okay, so winters are not good, frosts not good, snowfall not good, because they are warm temperature crop. Talking about precipitation. When we talk about precipitation, so again it requires high amount of precipitation, more than 200 centimeter of annual rainfall, and this rainfall has to be well distributed. That means if very intense rainfall is taking place, it might be detrimental for the rubber. Intensity nahi, well distributed has to be there. Rainfall has to be there, and that is why the waterlogged conditions are harmful for the rubber. In this line, the third important factor which we generally talk about is the soil. So it requires thick soil and with proper drainage. So when we talk about soil, so alluvial soil as well as laterite soil, both in both the types of soils, this crop can be grown. Fine, but the only thing is that the soils have to be well drained. There should not be a waterlogged condition. Okay, and the last thing is humidity. So humidity, again, it requires high humidity, relative humidity more than 80%. If we have to talk about the production and distribution, so in India, Kerala is the leading state. Kerala is responsible for around 70 to 80% of the total rubber production in India. So it is a leading state. Along with Kerala, the nearby states, that is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, then Andhra, also have rubber. Along with this, nowadays the northeastern states like Tripura, Nagaland, they are also coming up with the rubber production. But still the leading producer is what? Kerala. If we have to compare India in the global context, so India is the fifth largest producer of rubber, and India is also among top 3 consumers, right? In Kerala, you also have a rubber board. This is an organization situated in Kerala. So rubber board basically obviously takes care about the trading and branding of rubber. And this is important fact. This is what? This is a statutory organizations made under Rubber Act 1947. It is situated in headquarters in Kerala, I guess Kottayam. Okay, so these are the important key facts related to the rubber cultivation, and these were the important topics which I want to discuss today. I hope you have liked the session, you have enjoyed the session, and you have gained some important analytical view of the topics which we discussed on the mains and the factual points from these two topics, which can help you in prelims as well as mains examination. Okay, so that is all from my side. Thank you. Have a good day.